Yo, what is up, YouTube? Back with another video. Today, I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to be asking the hypothetical, theoretical question. If the NFL playoffs started today, what would the seedings look like? So, I've been wanting to do this the entire year. I probably could have done it a couple weeks ago, but, I think the farther into the season you do it, the more accurate you're going to be. So, I'm going to go over the AFC, NFC standings, and we're going to ask the question, is this for real, or are other teams going to take this spot? Let's start with the AFC. Let's start with the 7th seed. We got the Cleveland Browns at 4-3, third place in the AFC North. This team is one game ahead of the Steelers, and the Patriots and the Colts and the Chiefs and the Broncos and the Jets and the Jaguars and the Dolphins and the Texans, all those teams are in the hunt. But they play the Steelers this week. Whoever wins that game most likely going to be getting that 7th seed unless the Chargers lose. Which brings me to number 6. We got the Chargers. They are 4-2. They're second in the AFC West. And they're the 6th seed currently. They lost to the Ravens and they beat the Browns. So if there is a tiebreaker between those teams, the Ravens would beat them in that tiebreaker and they would beat the Browns. So even though the Chargers are 4-2 and the Browns are 4-3, if these two teams had the same record, Chargers would be getting that tiebreaker. And at 5th seed, we got the Baltimore Ravens. Wow. Who would have thought this team would be not winning their division at this point in time? We've already listed every AFC North team except for one. And that team, wow, it's surprising all of us, but currently got the Ravens at 5-2. Second in the AFC North, and they are the 5th seed. So looking at the wildcard spots, I think all the teams in the wildcard spots currently, maybe excluding the Browns on another universe, maybe. I'm saying maybe because maybe, but I think the Chargers and the Ravens are very clear, favorites to make the playoffs. And another notable thing, I think the Browns and the Steelers are going to be competing for a playoff spot, and like I said, they play each other this week, so that game's very important. You got to keep your eye on that. So let's go to the divisional winners at 4 seed. Everyone thought this team might be a Super Bowl favorite in the AFC, but we got the Bills at 4 seed. They are 4-2 and they are first in their division, and they are the 4 seed in the AFC because of the other teams either having better records than them or had tiebreakers. But the Bills are 4 seed. They have lost 2 games this year to the Titans and the Steelers. So notice how I said Titans, because look at number 3, we got the Tennessee Titans. They're 5-2. They are first place in their division in the AFC South. If the Bills and the Titans had the same record, then the Titans will be getting that tiebreaker because they beat them. So that's something to keep your eye on the whole year. And they currently won the game ahead because they played an extra game. And we got number 2 and 1. And if you were to ask me who are going to be the top 2 seeds before the season started in the AFC, I would never, ever say this in my life. But we got the 2nd seed, Las Vegas Raiders. Wow. Everyone thought maybe this team was going to have a downfall after the John Gruden incident, but 2 straight wins in a row. Currently first place in their division, and they're shocking everybody because they're playing good football. But are they really playing good football, or are they playing bad teams? Well, we'll see later in the season, but, let's go to the 1 seed, and this is the most surprising thing I've ever seen in my life. From the 15th or the 14th seed in the AFC, the 5th pick in the draft from 2021, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the 1st seed. Who would have thought? I would never bet. If I were to get a question, put $1,000 on the Bengals not being 1st seed, I would do that instantly. And I would just have lost all that money because, wow. So this is the team to keep your eye on because I think their offense is really insane with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. That connection throughout college is good. And they've beaten really good teams this year. So we're just going to have to see what happens with the Bengals. But could these teams, the Bengals, Raiders, actually win their divisions? So looking at the AFC, I think the Bengals, Raiders, they could fall out of their division winnings and probably get a wild card spot. And I think the Steelers and the Chiefs are the only teams in the playoff bubble with the opportunity to make the playoffs. Now let's go to the NFC. Let's look at the 7th seed currently, the Minnesota Vikings. So they are 3-3. They had a bye week last week, and they're second place in the NFC North. Let's look at every team in the bubble. We got Falcons, Bears, Carolina Panthers, 49ers, Washington football team, Eagles, Giants, Seahawks, Lions. Yeah, we already got to say the Lions, but we got the Vikings in the 7th seed. They were 3-3. I think this is going to be the 7th seed. By the end of the year, I think the Vikings get the 7th seed, and that's all I'll say about that. So we got the Saints at the 6th seed. They are 4-2, and they're in the 6th seed. That's pretty good record. But you got to have a really good record to be 5th seed, right? And that's the Rams at 6-1. Imagine being 6-1, better than every team in the AFC, and being the 5th seed. So yeah, the Rams are an insanely good team, insanely talented, and they're battling with someone in their division for obviously their division. And you probably know what team that is, but if you were to ask me which one of these teams is most likely to fall out of the playoffs, the NFC is actually kind of garbage. So I think all these teams have the opportunity to stay in the playoff bubble. And the only team in the bubble right now that could make the playoffs, I don't even know. I don't know. Like, it's actually so bad, but probably the Falcons. Nah, I'm kidding. The Falcons are horrible. So those wildcard spots, they're actually pretty solid. I think that could be the end of the year teams making the playoffs. Let's go to the 4th seed. Got the Dallas Cowboys. They're 5-1, and they're in the 4th seed. Better record than every team in the AFC, and they're the 4th seed. So yeah, Dallas Cowboys pretty good. You hate to see it, but they're looking pretty decent this year, and their offense is probably behind Tampa Bay, best in the league. Defense is getting turnovers, so that's a team to keep your eye on. We got the 3rd seed, Green Bay Packers, at 6-1. After losing week 1 to the Saints, the Packers have won 6 straight. I'm not really surprised, but their schedule's so easy that, they deserve to get a record like that with such a bad schedule. It's like the easy schedule in the league, so, Packers looking pretty good. Next, we got the 2nd seed, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6-1. Once again, so all of these division winners currently at 1 loss, except for the 1st seed, Arizona Cardinals, undefeated 7-0. So yeah, that's the NFC standings, but what do you want to keep your eye on? What you're going to want to watch this week is the matchup, which I think is the most important game of the week for both teams. Packers versus Cardinals. The Cardinals are 7-0 and the Packers are 6-1. So whoever wins this game is going to be higher in the seedings. So if the Cardinals beat the Packers, that is probably the biggest win of the year for them. Just think about it. If they go 8-0, there's a good chance they win their division by the end of the year. And I 100% think the Packers are going to win their division. So they basically have a 2-game lead over them after this week if they win. But if the Packers win, that's a huge win for them too, because they would be placed above the Cardinals at 2nd seed or 1st seed, depending on the tiebreaker between them and Tampa Bay. But yeah, that's it. So if the playoffs were to start today, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Arizona Cardinals are getting first-round byes. If you look at the draft picks recently, Joe Burrow, number 1 quarterback selected overall in the 2019 NFL Draft. If you look at the quarterback before that, who was it? You guessed it. Kyler Murray. So are we seeing a trend here? The best QB in the draft, and they're having their way currently. Joe Burrow and Kyler Murray currently 1st seeds in the AFC and NFC. So if the playoffs were to start today, the Bengals will be getting a first-round bye. The 2nd seed Raiders will be hosting the 7th seed Browns. The 3rd seed Titans will be hosting the 6th seed Los Angeles Chargers. And the 4th seed Buffalo Bills will be hosting the 5th seed Baltimore Ravens. And looking at the NFC, the Cardinals will be getting a first-round bye. The 2nd seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be hosting the Minnesota Vikings. The 3rd seed Green Bay Packers will be hosting the New Orleans Saints, the only team that beat them this year. And the 4th seed Dallas Cowboys will be hosting the 5th seed Los Angeles Rams, which would be a really good game. So yeah, a lot of really good games. And honestly, I think the NFC is pretty solid. Like, I think a lot of these teams in the playoff picture currently are going to make the playoffs. But the AFC, I think it changes a lot by the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if every single one of these seedings changed at the end of the year. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Adios.